them from injury and allow them to glorify you in all that they do on the floor. Father, be with the spectators and the referees. Allow them to do the same, that your name will be glorified in this place. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
And with that, we are ready to begin quarterfinal 3. We had a condensed warm-up window, so we're ready to go as the 2 seed, Bob Jones University Bruins take on the number 7 seed, Campbellsville University Harrodsburg, out of Kentucky. We'll probably call them Harrodsburg or CUH for short because there's another Campbellsville out there. Here are the starters for Campbellsville. They just came in now. It's Nakir Joyce, Lewis Richards, Elijah Fry, Evan Frederick, and Keelan Kennedy. For Bob Jones, it's Elijah Couples, Kenny Garrick, Camden Gearhart, Hayes Brush, and Trevor Brunson. The winner will play tomorrow at 7. The loser will play at 3. Again, no one goes home today. As the lineups continue to be introduced here, let's get you up to speed for Bob Jones. 13-0 at home. They went on a 13-game winning streak, or I should say not a 13-game, but a win streak that lasted nearly 2 months. The 13-0 was from home. It was an 11-game winning streak. In fact, they only lost once after dropping 3 of their first 5. They would not suffer a defeat until Southeastern Baptist on February 8th. So that's 16 out of 17 for the Bruins. And they have a plethora of options. Couples leads with 14.8, but Brunson at 12.6. Garrick and Vanderhart at 12. There is no one player you can focus on. For Campbellsville, as we get ready to go, they finished 18-8, 20-8 overall is their record. 3rd consecutive appearance in the NCCAA tournament. And they won the Mid-East region for the 2nd time in 3 years. Evan Frederick, one of the newcomers, as you can see, moved into a starting role, adding to a post lineup that includes Warner Bryan and Terrence McDaniels Jr. We'll talk more about it as the game moves along. Campbellsville wearing the black, Bob Jones wearing the white. Bob Jones out of Greenville, South Carolina. Campbellsville, Harrodsburg out of Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Little roll for Bob Jones. Kenny Garrick, the 6'4" senior, gets us started. Drive and kick. Harrodsburg swings it around. And the 3 comes up short. That will go to Bob Jones. All part of the NCCAA weekend festivities, where not only are we chasing a ring, we're also king chasing. And we'll talk a little more about that. Here's a touch 3. Gearhart drains it. Hayes Brush set him up. And Bob Jones off to a quick start. Again, they're the 2 seed. But when you get to these tournaments, sometimes the seeding goes out the window. As Nakir Joyce out of Lexington, Kentucky gets the roll. Gearhart over to Garrick. Dribble drive, can't get the finish. Rebound collected by Richards. Deep 3 for Harrodsburg. Bounces away, but as you know, long shots mean long caroms. And drawing the foul is Nakir Joyce. Now, some of the stat tabulations here a little funky, so we'll do the best we can. But Joyce, a 77% free throw shooter, averaging about 7.4 a game. Nakir Joyce out of Lexington, Kentucky. Joyce, one of 4 players, one of 5, I should say, who were on this team 2 years ago when they won it all in NCCAA Division II. It's 5-4 after Joyce hit the freebies. He's got all 4 of Harrodsburg's points thus far. And again, we're referring to them as Harrodsburg because there is another Campbellsville University out there, so to separate the two and avoid confusion, it's Campbellsville University Harrodsburg, CUH or Harrodsburg. I mentioned that in case there are any newcomers. There are a lot of colleges out there, and we run into that as well up here. We've got a pair of Concordias in the state of Minnesota. As following his shot and putting it back is Trevor Brunson, the 6'5 junior. We've got Concordia College, that's near the Fargo-Moorhead area, and then Concordia University, that's the D2 school in St. Paul, part of the NSIC. Harrodsburg turns it over as the bounce pass intended for Frederick goes awry. .7-4 remaining, or 7-4 is the score, 17-16 remaining. Inbounding it for the Bruins is Couples. Gets the handoff. The jumper goes off the back iron. Rebound. Elijah Fry. This is Keelan Kennedy at the key. 14 to shoot. And pulling up for the mid-range J is Joyce. He's got all 6 of the Pioneers' points. Hayes Brush takes a stroll to the rim. The 6'2 graduate student makes it 9-6. Harrodsburg trying to set up in the corner. Now they'll pull up from about 17. Keelan Kennedy couldn't knock down that shot. Going to the rim was Kenny Garrick Jr. Harrodsburg takes over with 15:57 left in the first half. This is Kennedy. Over to Joyce. Backdoor play. Evan Frederick had the opening. We saw this a lot in the last game, won by Spurgeon over Arlington Baptist. You'll see a lot of players wait for the defender to blow by, try to pick up that foul instead of going up with it right away. It worked out for Frederick, but that's an interesting strategical decision. But Harrodsburg so far hanging with Bob Jones. And sometimes the seeding goes out the window if you've got a team that can give the other a matchup problem. Kenny Garrick draws the foul on Joyce. And they will give him the shooting motion. So Kenny Garrick will shoot a pair. 68% free throw shooter, and again, just one of several players. Some of his stats were split among different games as well, but when you look up and down this roster, they've got a lot of players who can chip in nicely as Garrick knocks down the front end. And the back end. Bob Jones, founded in 1927. Kenny Garrick was an all-region first-team honoree out of the South. Bounce pass inside. Frederick again. That's a couple of times. He's come up with points down low. And we remain at a near deadlock. Garrick. Frederick providing some defense as Shad Vanderhart looked for the escape route. Frederick out at the key. Don't know if he's going to take a shot from three-point range. No, he's going to go inside instead on a pick and roll. Joyce hooked up with him down low, and Frederick has scored 3 straight buckets. 12-11 the score. 14-15 left in the first half. Frederick, since he joined the team, shooting 50% from the floor, and he has hit a few threes. Not as frequently as Kennedy or some of the others, so he can go out there, in case you're wondering. And that's not too surprising these days in the era of what we call stretch fours. It's not like the old days if you watched in the 80s and 90s where your centers mostly camped out underneath and did their work down low. But a big presence so far in the early stages of this one as Garrick pulls up. Too strong. Rebound collected by Richards. Now he looks to slither around Camden Gearhart. But Camden standing at 7 feet. Not an easy person to work around. We mentioned king chasing earlier. Why is that a thing here? All the teams will serve together packing meals through Feed My Starving Children. That's Tostadas Pouncey on the takeaway. He's trying to pounce. And he'll have to do it from the free throw line out of Ludowici, Georgia, if I'm saying that correctly. If not, please let me know. One of many cities I have heard about for the first time today. 86% free throw shooter, though. The junior majoring in sport management. Knocks down the front end.
Coming in for the Pioneers, number 15, Warner Bryant. And number 0, Mr. Joyce.
It's a split for Pouncey. Here's a 3 for Harrodsburg. We're even at 12. Rebound collected by Vanderhart. Couples. To Gearhart. Back to Couples. Goes cross court to Hayes Brush. Pouncey. He stepped on the line. I was worried about that. When you get that close, sometimes you lose track of your position. An impressive resume, though, for Bob Jones against the team that won it all 2 years ago. Richards inside to Warner Bryant. Going baseline, the kick out. Pouncey swipes that pass away. Fitting name for basketball, I suppose. From the right side, Hayes Brush drives the lane and scores the layup. Hayes, one of 2 players to reach 1,000 points this season. Elijah Couples, the other. He had a 13-game winning streak. We mentioned only lost once, but Harrodsburg doesn't care about that. Nakir Joyce connects on the mid-range jumper, but after losing 3 of their first 5, Bob Jones only lost once. Joyce picks the pocket and goes in for 2 more. Nakir Joyce has got a quick 10. And Harrodsburg staying with Bob Jones as they lead by 2. Braden Smith picking up his second personal foul on that last exchange. So he will take a seat. Coming off the bench, but not an ideal place to be. As we get reset here. Bounce pass inside to Garrick. Ball was poked away and it rolls over to Joyce. He wants the runner. He's been feeling it in the early stages of this one. Oh, and he went down hard. Right now it's 5-on-4. And officials are going to stop play. Joyce was grabbing his ankle when he went down. And we're not showing that on screen, but he is wincing. 11:21 left in the first half. And that's a good sign. He is walking his way back. You hope it's just a tweak. Of course, I'm not going to speculate the severity of any injury as he heads to the training room, because some injuries that look scary turn out to be mild, and some that don't look all that serious can be more impactful than you might imagine. But it was a good sign that Joyce was able to get back up and at least walk his way over to the training room. Doesn't have to go far. It's a small gym here, North Central University, so everything within short walking distance. But the Patriots will have to forge ahead. That's one way to do it. Warner Bryant called for the offensive foul. I thought he was going to go to the line after that steal, but the official overruled it or signaled the offensive foul. Bryant might have led with an elbow charge, who knows? (16-14). Harrodsburg in front over Bob Jones. Vanderhart, fadeaway. Off the front iron. Lewis Richards gets the rebound here at the Clark Danielson Gymnasium. The host team will take the floor in our final quarterfinal this evening. Lewis Richards fouled as he tried to make his approach from the elbow. No, that was a jump ball. I stand corrected. What was that? No, I see Hayes Brush. Okay. The public address announcer was going over something, and I thought the call might have gone the other way, but Amari Faulkner, he's going one way, and that's to the bucket, which he does on that runner. That's his first field goal. 18-14 the score. Going underneath is Hayes Brush, one of our 1,000-point scorers this season from Bob Jones. 10-10. Faulkner with the pass to number 20. His three drifts slightly left. That's Janoy Lee out of Louisville, Kentucky. Hayes Brush over to Couples. Brunson tried to slide around the lane, couldn't do it. Richards called for the block. Hayes Brush, that is. And Richards feeling it after colliding with the floor. That's another starter. And that's the second on Hayes Brush. But Lewis Richards, the leader of this team, 20.5 points per game. Joyce already had to go to the training room, and I haven't seen him return.
Number 10, Lewis Richards will go to the line.
Richards, 85% free throw shooter, averaging 20.5 per game this season. He has done nicely. His efficiency at the mid-range and rim has proven to be a strong suit.
The shooting foul is going to go to number 15, Warner Bryant.
Okay, he won't shoot because he had to sub out. So in that situation, Warner Bryan will take his place. Bryan not quite as accurate, 59%. Richards, I see him on the floor, and I see Joyce trotting back to the Harrodsburg bench. So Bryan will shoot the free throws.
Coming into the Bruins, number 50, Campbellsville-Harrodsburg.
And after all that, I see Richards is still out there. One of those intricacies that you don't see often, because I would think if Richards can't shoot the free throws, he would have to sub out, but he's able to stay on the floor. And Bryan knocks down both free throws, part of that post tandem. He, McDaniels, and Frederick pairing up splendidly for the Pioneers, who lead 20-16, 9.5 left in the first half. Traveling call, no bucket for Vanderhart. And he went up to the rim a little too quickly. Timeout on the floor, 9:18 left, and Harrodsburg leads by 4 in this Division II NCCAA quarterfinal. At Truett Seminary Faith and Sports Institute, Christian leaders in sports are equipped through theological education, practical training, and useful resources. You can join an online or residential graduate degree program, gain continuing education certificates, and participate in character and leadership practicums. Start your journey today at Baylor.edu/Truett/FSI. That's Baylor.edu/Truett/FSI. Some early leaders that we can gather. Joyce was one of them. Again, he went back to the bench. So I would think he's all right. No, he's still walking it off. So he hasn't returned to the floor, but still working on whatever was ailing him. Keelan Kennedy's three goes off the rim. Rebound Brunson. Frederick has 6 points. Joyce had a quick 10 to start things off for the Pioneers. Catch and shoot three, too strong for Elijah Couples. And we saw that earlier in our first quarterfinal with Tyrus Buckner. He had a strong game, but may have tweaked something and opted or was held from returning. As Janoy Lee hits the 17-footer. Sometimes preservation matters a little more. Want to make sure these athletes come back in one piece. 22-16, Harrodsburg, the 7 seed, up by 6. Frederick with 6 points. One of the leaders on the floor right now. If you just joined us, Nakir Joyce on a ferocious start. The three from the key. Not there. Bob Jones having a tough time hitting those threes. Joyce went to the training room after injuring what appeared to be his ankle. He's returned to the bench, and he's suited up. And right now, still shaking off whatever was bothering him. We'll see if he returns, but he is on the floor, and he's standing right now. I don't know if there are any chairs available. I think there's one, but on this end, it's a side out for Harrodsburg. Hoping to provide at least one upset of our final 8. Frederick doubled up. Finds an escape route in Janoy Lee, whose three is true. And the Pioneers lead by 9. Doing this without one of their floor leaders in Joyce. Richards the leading scorer for the Pioneers, but again, you'll take contributions wherever you can get them. Eight to shoot for the Bruins. Elijah Couples didn't have a great lane to work with. Keelan Kennedy turns on the Jets and hooks up with Coco Lukanga. Lukanga, the senior from Lexington. A lot of Louisville and Lexington natives on the Harrodsburg roster. Frederick from the key snatches the ball away, looks to take it all the way. He was cut off by the 7-foot Camden Gearhart. Richards for three. It's Lukanga again who swoops in for the O board. And this time Lee rips the three home. 30-16. Harrodsburg, the 7 seed, up by 2 touchdowns. Wilkins to Couples, the drive and kick. Brunson's three, short. And that seems to be the story of this game. Bob Jones having difficulties landing shots from the perimeter. Lewis Richards lost control of the drive, and Bob Jones will get an easy layup out of that. And Brandon Wilkins, he could have walked his way to the rim there. That gets him on the board. Keelan Kennedy gets the ball back. He'll launch a three and bank it in. Whether you switch it through the net or use the backboard, if it goes in, that's what counts. Gearhart was thinking about it. Offensive foul on Bob Jones, and it goes against Gearhart. Gearhart is a solid three-point shooter, though, 40%. So when you see him fake from out there, that's not just a decoy. He can shoot, too. Again, that's a commonality now in the modern era of basketball. 33-18 the score. Harrodsburg in front. The live stats feed still not back online yet. We had some trouble in our last game, and we are sorting through it as best we can. If we're able to bring it back, we will inform you. But I can tell you, Harrodsburg, they are connecting on their shots from long range. Nakir Joyce back on the floor and back in business. On cue, another triple. Makes it 36-18 as the Pioneers are doubling up on the Bruins. Takeaway by Lukonga. Joyce. Again. Not this time. 4:58 left in the first half. Harrodsburg out of fouls to give if you're keeping track. Bob Jones with just one. Both teams have used a timeout already. Again, you get 6 at this level. Couples hit on the three-point attempt. The 6'3" senior and the leading scorer, 14.8 points per game. Shooting 46% from the floor, 87% from the free throw line. He is an accurate one, and he will shoot 3 free throws. Bob Jones coming in, 19-4, best record in program history, and 13-0 at home. And Couples not wasting a whole lot of time. Founded in 1927, Bob Jones University. Elijah Couples out of Harrisburg, North Carolina, majoring in business administration. Came over from Western Carolina. So 36-21 after Couples gets all 3 of those. And at this stage, I think they will take it. But Harrodsburg feeling it from three-point range. That was a 2. I stand corrected. Elijah Fry hit a 2. For a moment, I thought it was a 3. They've been hitting so many. They can all blur together. Here's Wilkins. The handoff to Hayes Brush. Out of the high post. Tried to bounce it. It goes off the leg of Bryan. And Faulkner scoops it up. Chad Vanderhart says, no trouble, I'll just steal it and throw it down. And that fires up the fans who made the trip from Greenville, South Carolina. Joyce used up the dribble, throws it away. Here's a look at the steal and slam. I've used the term steal and run out a lot. by Shad Vanderhart, the 6'6 sophomore out of Runnels, Iowa. A chance for Bob Jones to work their way back into contention. Foul before the drive, but it's 1-1 regardless for Bob Jones and Kenny Garrick Jr. out of Covington, Georgia, majoring in sport management. And Garrick
going to the line for a 1-1, number 33, Kenny
with 4
Garrick
points,
Jr.
hoping to add to his total here. .325 left in the first half. A reminder, no one goes home today. The winner will play at 7 o'clock tomorrow, approximately, in the championship semifinal. The loser will play at 3 p.m. in the consolation semifinal. This tournament structured similarly to the state tournaments that we have here in Minnesota, as Garrett makes the freebies. An official stoppage of play.
Coming in for the Pioneers, number 10, Lewis Richards.
Richards will check in. Fry will take a seat. Richards and Joyce both getting tweaked, but both back out there. Again, a good sign to see. Bryan collects the skip, goes for the extra pass to Terrence McDaniels Jr. If you recall, earlier in the game, Harrodsburg highlighting that trio, McDaniels, Frederick, and Bryan. The three just grazed the net. Outlet, Bryan catches and lays it in. 42-25. The 7 seed Harrodsburg Pioneers, champions 2 years ago, taking it to Bob Jones. Entering this tournament with the best record in program history, Bryan rises up for the block. From 14, got it. Keelan Kennedy from Louisville, and we've got another stoppage here. It's Hayes Brush, who went down briefly. He's smiling it off. So after the bucket, Terrence McDaniels was called for the foul. So the bucket counts. But Brush will go to the line. That doesn't happen often. It's a rare sight, but it can occur. Brush, a 74% free throw shooter, averaging 10.3 points, 6.3 rebounds. It doesn't happen often, but occasionally you will get a situation where a foul occurs after a shot is made. And in that situation, the basket will count since the foul occurred after the shot attempt, but the foul will still apply. So the last bucket by Kennedy stands, but Brush gets to go to the free throw line with Bob Jones in the bonus. And with that, we thank you for our latest lesson of basketball for dummies, because I sure need a few. Brush makes both free throws, and Harrodsburg providing a lesson on how to respond quickly and swiftly. Lukonga gets his second field goal of the game. And everyone chipping in. Joyce still leading the way with 15 points, but he's getting plenty of help from the other Pioneers. A deep three bounces off the rim. Oh, that could have been dicey. Anytime you get two teammates battling each other for the rebound, you never know what to expect. 1:45 to go in the first half. A brilliant exhibition of distance shooting and just plain old shot-making ability. Offensive foul. As you know, no free throws awarded for a team control foul. But we're going to get a line change substitution here. from Bob Jones. They are swapping out. 5 on the floor with another group of 5. You don't see platoon subbing like this often. But we'll see how this plays out for the Bruins. Couples back out there. Kenny Garrick Jr., he's got 6. But Bob Jones finds themselves in a big hole. They'll have to dig out of it if they want to earn a spot in the semifinals tomorrow. Trevor Brunson completes the dribble drive. Joyce calmly bringing the ball up court. Harrodsburg not in any real hurry here. No, now Joyce working the right side, can't get the bank. And Bob Jones takes over with 51.8 on the clock, as you can see on the screen. Clark Danielson Gymnasium, downtown U, the home of North Central. This gym also hosted some women's semi-pro games about 10 years ago. The Minnesota Black Eyes, they were around for a couple of years, featured some high-level names out of D1, D2 women's hoops. Right now, it's featuring some of the best in the NCCAA. 3 from the key, that would have been a huge help, but an offensive rebound can be just as helpful. And Dylan Harris, the political science major, goes to the line. Harris, 75% free throw shooter, averaging 3.4 a game. There's a lot of height on this Bob Jones roster. I mentioned Gearhart at 7 feet, Harris 6'6", Vanderhart 6'6". Basketball, a friendly sport for those with some height. Split for Harris. Kennedy. There is a 5-second difference, shot clock to game clock. Harrodsburg can't hold it here. Kennedy lets it fly. Can't get the bounce. Rukanga, he's been scraping and scratching for those old boards. Just hasn't been able to make it work yet. 5 to shoot. Whistle. Foul away from the ball. And it's on Bob Jones. It's on Harris. Bob Jones had 1 to give, but I don't think they wanted to use it there. Harrodsburg will get one more chance, one more opportunity with 4.8 on the clock. That's plenty of time, especially if you can get a long pass in to make a run at the bucket. There was a high school game earlier this year where we had a steal and run out with about that much time on the clock. Richards gets it, dashes in, fires a runner to beat the buzzer. It looked like he was going out of control and that play would go nowhere. Richards finds an extra gear within him to hit the buzzer beater runner, punctuating a sensational first half for the Harrodsburg Pioneers. They lead at 48-30. We'll take a break, come back with first half stats and analysis as we continue live coverage of the NCCAA Division II Men's Basketball Tournament right here on the NCCAA Network.
chose Grace Christian University because it's a small campus and it's like family.
Christ is really at the center here. I feel the Christian influence of it is really important to me.
This is a really good place to grow and to learn, and it's also a good place to fail, and you have really good supports behind you.
Pick somewhere where people are going to care about you. Pick somewhere where people want to watch you grow as a person, grow as a student, grow as a family member, grow as a friend.
In the heart of the Midwest is a college that's different, where students work for their education instead of paying tuition, where teaching Christian character is just as important as academics, and where future leaders learn from world leaders. A college where our love for America is celebrated by preparing students to take their role in American history. This is College of the Ozarks, and this is where lives are changed.
Making the right choice about college begins with parents asking the right questions about college. At boyscollege.com/questions, you will learn the 9 issues Christian parents need to consider. Go to boyscollege.com/questions. A lifetime of faithfulness in preaching, in teaching, in discipling, and in counseling begins with an education that is trusted for truth. Find the theological degree that best fits your ministry goals at sbts.edu/faithful.
Crown College is a boldly Christian college located in Minnesota on 215 acres of land. We pride ourselves in the pursuit of excellence not only in academics, but in chapel, the student experience, and athletics. Students can pick from one of our 30 majors, compete in one of our 18 sports, and participate in student activities each week. Come visit us on one of our visit days or schedule a private visit and let your experience speak for itself.
In the heart of the Midwest is a college that's different, where students work for their education instead of paying tuition, where teaching Christian character is just as important as academics, and where future leaders learn from world leaders. A college where our love for America is celebrated by preparing students to take their role in American history. This is College of the Ozarks, and this is where lives are changed.
It's halftime, and let's take a look at our first half stats. As you can guess, Harrodsburg with the edge, shooting 58.8% from the floor, well above the 34.6% clip out of Bob Jones. That extends to the three-pointers. Even though Harrodsburg only 4 of 13, Bob Jones just 1 of 7. +6 in rebounds. Assists, you can gather that as well. Harrodsburg with the edge there. Nakir Joyce, after checking over the numbers, has 13 points. Janoy Lee has 8. And almost everyone that has seen floor time has scored for Harrodsburg. That kind of balance can be tough to contain. And that balance is something we're used to seeing out of Bob Jones. When you look at their stat lines, Hayes Brush leads with 8. But they're just having a hard time getting shots to fall. And if that doesn't change for them, Harrodsburg could run away with this. Now, it's not often that teams can sustain a high level of field goal shooting from one half to the next. So we'll have to see how things unfold in the second half. But it would be a notable upset if Harrodsburg, the 7th seed, can advance to the semifinals, which they would do with a win tonight. We'll come back and give you the second half in just a moment. You're watching the NCCAA Division II Men's Basketball Tournament on the NCCAA Network. We're ready to start the second half. As Harrodsburg hopes to ride the coattails of a strong first half, where they shot just under 59% from the floor. And if you recall, Nakir Joyce had to get checked out by the trainer after sustaining an injury early in the first half.
Bruins will get the ball to start the second half.
We're underway. Bob Jones, they're going to need to get some momentum their way, and that's a great starting point. Hayes Brush off the feed from Garrick. That will give him a chance for 3. Frederick called for his second foul, and Brush, the first Bob Jones player to reach double digits. Brush completes the three-point play. Brush, the graduate student. As you know, you can't erase it all in one swing. Bob Jones zoning up. They're going to try to force Harrodsburg to the outside, the perimeter, it looks like. Catch and shoot 3, short. Dead ball rebound to Harrodsburg. Just underway here in the second half. If you just joined us, Harrodsburg put up some impressive numbers from the floor, shooting nearly 59% in the first half. Can they carry that over into the second half? So many times in the sport of basketball, we see a strong start taper off, but Nakir Joyce working his way through the lane, those high percentage shots, one way to keep that figure up and one way to keep his total up. He's got 15 based on our tally. Now it's Bob Jones trying to penetrate with the shot clock winding down. Elijah Couples goes for the pull-up, gets the friendly bounce. Couples with 5. Underneath, Harrodsburg finding ways to squeeze inside, something a zone that is supposed to prevent. But Evan Frederick goes up to 8. He had a solid performance down low. But as we said before, Harrodsburg, they're getting contribution from just about everyone. That makes them really tough to key in on when you're trying to work your way back. Baseline jumper from Brunson is long. Braden Smith out of Hodgenville, Kentucky. He's on the floor. There's Richards. Goes out to Frederick. Remember, he does have a few three-pointers. Kennedy to Richards. 3-ball. Short. And Frederick looked like he was in position, but Brunson was able to get the lateral movement on him for the rebound. Gearhart. Ball is lost.
Pioneers ball. Coming in for the Pioneers, number 4, Amari Faulkner.
Catch and shoot 3. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Keelan Kennedy. And that bumps his total up to 8. Whistle and a foul against Harrodsburg.
Foul on number 3, Braden Smith. That's his 3rd. That'll be Bruins ball.
Bob Jones trailing by 20. The largest lead of the game for Campbellsville. Campbellsville-Harrodsburg, that is. And Harrodsburg, after an early tussle, still pulling away. Elijah Couples working around a couple of Harrodsburg players. They almost screened each other out. That gave Couples a free lane to take it in. Richards out to Kennedy. Another 3, you bet. Back-to-back triples for Keelan Kennedy. He's got 3 in the game. And Harrodsburg extending their lead. 21 points, their largest. And the fans who made the trek from Kentucky loving every minute of this. Another take. Kenny Garrick scores. But Bob Jones takes the timeout. Harrodsburg keeping up this torrid pace and hoping it will translate into a semifinal berth tomorrow. 58-39. But Harrodsburg connecting on a few threes. Keelan Kennedy was just 1 of 4 in the first half. He's hit a couple here. And the senior out of Louisville, Kentucky, who hits 36%. So one of those reliable distance shooters. The music is still playing right now. Keelan Kennedy feeling it. And he's playing some three-point tunes. His third triple of the half. He's got 4 overall. And that shoots up his scoring figure to 14 points. Keelan Kennedy, the senior. Bob Jones trying to get the answer. That shot either misfired or something happened that caused it to go errantly. Harrodsburg lost control of it that time. Here's a chance for Bob Jones. They get fouled from behind, and Brunson will shoot 2. Brunson averaging 12.6 points per game, 84% free throw shooter, and shooting 51% from the floor. Can't get the front end to go, though. Not only did they have a couple of 1,000-point scorers, Bob Jones also had 2 honorees in the all-region first team in Kenny Garrick and Elijah Couples. They got the 1 seed in the South region. Won their 4th region title. That earned them a spot in this tournament. It's a split for Trevor Brunson. But you've got a white-hot Keelan Kennedy out there. Extra pass. Warner staying with it. A couple of misses on the part of the Pioneers. That was a nice little swing motion going out, in, then out again, or in again, in or out, however you describe it. Chad Vanderhart gets Bob Jones a much-needed bucket. That happened so fast, I had a hard time keeping up. This is Janoy Lee. The step-back 3. Looks short, it is. And the ball bounced out of bounds before Lewis Richards could track it down. 13:47 left in the second half. 61-42. Harrodsburg will take a timeout. They hold a 19-point lead as they continue their quest to play the upset card. Back to action, 61-42. In the quest to not only chase the ring, but also chase the king. King chasing, the hashtag for this tournament. And Harrodsburg with a stately effort thus far as the hook shot is short from Couples. That's Kennedy. Kicks it out. Joyce was thinking about it. Now works his way through the hole, splitting the defense and moving through the open sea. 63-42. Harrodsburg. Brunson got harassed on his way to the rim. Harrodsburg forcing the turnover. Both teams with 4 timeouts left if you're curious, but right now no real sign of any danger for the Pioneers of Harrodsburg. They would take on the winner of our next game. And Kennedy, you see how far Bob Jones has to go out to guard him after hitting those threes. Joyce hits the runner from the elbow, and that is one of the hidden benefits when you're knocking down shots from long range. It forces defenders to respect that, extending their reach and opening up some possibilities inside. Brian not happy with himself. I think he thought he should have had that steal. Well, not a whole lot to be frustrated about, though. If you're Harrodsburg, you're leading by 23. And after a three-point play, perhaps offered a window to Bob Jones to reel in the deficit. Instead, Harrodsburg maintaining the pressure. Trying to get the roll was Hayes Brush. Another stop for Harrodsburg. 11:55 left in the second half. Landon Elmore checking into the game. Kennedy pulls up. Missed that one. Kenny Garrick boxing out Bryan to ensure the dead ball rebound.
Coming in for the Bruins, number 3, Trevor Brunson, and number 50, Camden Earhart. Coming in for the Pioneers, number 35, Evan Frederick.
Catch and shoot three from the wing. Sails long. Foul on the rebound.
That's his first. But it'll be Pioneers ball.
It's on Brunson. That's just his first, but insult to injury. Richards out to Kennedy. Bit of a heat check, I suppose. But you're not going to fault him for launching when he's been knocking them down in the second half. Bob Jones gets one to go. That's Tostadas Pouncey. That's just the second three-pointer of the game for the Bruins of Bob Jones, and we've got a timeout. 10:59 left in the second half. Bruins still have some work to do, though, trailing by 20. 65-45. Harrodsburg still in front, and they have not shown any signs of waning that sometimes accompanies teams that go on those hot starts. At any tournament, whoever wins it, there's usually a commonality, and that's surviving a bad half. Now, that doesn't always mean you find yourself trailing by a bunch or anything of that nature. It's sometimes weathering through adversity. Bob Jones did not have a great first half, shooting just 34%. Harrodsburg had a terrific one. And for the lower-seeded teams, the underdogs, that's always the question. Do you have enough? And if you make a run, can you sustain it? It's one thing to get in front. It's another thing to maintain that advantage. Richards tumbles into the padding. It will be Bob Jones' ball on the turnover.
Coming in for the Bruins, number 4, Hayes Baruch.
The lane opened up. Elijah Couples was able to get a couple of Harrodsburg players to bump into each other, and unfortunately, he couldn't get the roll. I say this a lot, but those short-range looks, you never want to leave those empty because you never know when they might be useful later. Kennedy doubled right away. Going underneath for the scoop is Frederick. And as long as they keep an eye on Kennedy like that, other opportunities will present themselves as it did for Frederick, who's got 10. Joyce with the strip. He'll shoot 2. Joyce from Lexington, Kentucky.
Number 0, Nick Joyce, one line, shoot 2.
A reminder, because I don't think we'll start on time with that second game running along. North Central and Grace Christian will begin approximately 10 to 15 minutes after the conclusion of this one. They did condense the warm-up window for this game, and I imagine they might do the same. We've seen throughout the day the teams that follow, as Joyce is looking to add to his 21 points. 20 points, I should say. Now 21. The board has him at 23, but on our stat tracker, they had him with 2 fewer points. Joyce. That's always a great sight to witness. You score on one end, get the stop on the other. Baseline jumper rims out for Elijah Fry, but Harrodsburg, they've been extending slowly but surely the perfect follow-up. Elijah Couples nets the 3 for Bob Jones. But do they have enough time for another comeback? They really haven't been able to make one at all, I should say. Harrodsburg continuing to shoot at an impressive rate. Rebound tipped to Richards. Joyce thinks about it, now fires short. You'll hear sometimes, well, Bob Jones looking to push, get that transition bucket. Sometimes you'll hear folks, analysts say that players maybe spend too much time thinking about it. They often tell you you'll never be more open than when you first get a pass. So if you're open, fire away, as Frederick did. That didn't work out. But Fry cooks up a second chance bucket. Harrodsburg will take a timeout, 71-48, 8:29 left in the second half, but the Pioneers are still flying high. D2 Men's Basketball National Championship gear is available online. Find t-shirts, sweatshirts, pullovers, and more with the option to personalize the design. Shop today at championshipgear.com. 8:29 left in the second half. And Harrodsburg has been controlling this one almost throughout. It was tight early on, and then Harrodsburg started hitting a few buckets and turning the tide, the tempo, the flow of this game heavily in their favor. Joyce is going to take a breather. Remember, he had to check out with that injury. Elijah Fry called for his first personal foul. Harrodsburg with 1 to give. Bob Jones still has 4, but we're nowhere near close enough for that to really be a factor yet. That's the last to give. It's on Fry, and that will be his third. Joyce with 21 points. Frederick with 10. And we've still encountered some trouble with our live stats, but if Harrodsburg is able to advance, we'll be able to brief you on everything that took place in this quarterfinal round. Brian trying to put a stop on Chad Vanderhart, but Chad ducked underneath just enough to avoid him. Vanderhart with 6. But Bob Jones, if they want to move on to the semis, they're going to need a run, and soon. And they can't keep giving up those short-range bunnies, short-range looks like they just did with Elijah Fry, who took another trip through the lane. On the other end, Kenny Garrick hits the turnaround. Another timeout for Bob Jones, 73-52, with 7:25 left in the second. Harrodsburg, though, trading blow for blow with Bob Jones. A reminder that whatever happens today, nobody goes home. We've got consolation and championship semifinals tomorrow. And if Harrodsburg hangs on, it's looking that way with 7:25 left. They would move on to the semifinals at 7 o'clock. We already have our first pair of semifinalists. It's Crown and Spurgeon. The loser will play in the consolation semifinal at 3. Kansas Christian and Arlington Baptist will meet in the first of that pairing. So everyone's going to get to play at least 2 games, but everyone has dreams, visions of getting 3 games and the title. Empty possession. Bob Jones really needs this 3, and Elijah Couples delivers. 13 points for Couples. Another timeout for Harrodsburg. 6:40 to go. Bob Jones trying to scrounge one more run and get themselves into the semifinals. (73-55), and Harrodsburg getting it done from multiple sources. Joyce, the most prominent, as he enters the floor again. Brian, Fry, and plenty others. Janoy Lee, let's not forget that play he had to end the first half. If you're on this team, you better come ready to play. And Kentucky, known for bluegrass and basketball, Louisville, Lexington. A lot of greats have come through there in both men's and women's sports. Richards will take it in for two and have a chance to make it three. Richards, as we take another look at this move along the baseline, that was just pure determination. Didn't do anything fancy or stylish or over the top to get himself open. He just wasn't going to quit. But Richards, this is hard to believe. He only has 5 points. He's their leading scorer. As Couples look to connect another three, cannot. Richards with the rebound. He wants more, but he draws the foul. Will they give him the shooting motion? They do. We've seen a lot of clock management between the two sides, calling timeouts after made buckets. You might wonder why Harrodsburg would do that when they're up by 21. Trust me, coaches, they envision, plan for every scenario. They don't want to act like they have it until they know the game is in hand. As Richards, who had been quiet up until these last couple of possessions, adding his numbers. And he's good for quite a bit. 6.2 rebounds, averaging 20.5 per game. Splits at the line there. You might think Harrodsburg was on the struggle bus without him putting up his usual doses of scoring, as Kenny Garrick Jr. sinks the turnaround J, but it really is a testament, an affirmation of the team ball that Harrodsburg has employed. Whether it was Kennedy, who has 4 threes and 14 points, or Joyce, who has 21. Got a quick 10 to launch things for the Pioneers. Keelan Kennedy, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 three-pointers. Ha, 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 ha. 80-57, and Harrodsburg, I think they can smell a semifinal berth. Couples scores on the take to the rim, but Harrodsburg has scored bucket after bucket. Anytime Bob Jones looks like they could get a score that would shift the narrative in their direction, Harrodsburg answers. And sometimes the best defense is a better offense. Harrodsburg working the clock now as we're under the 5-minute mark. 6 to shoot. It's Richards, the three, off the iron. Oh! Whose ball is that? The sideline official says it's Harrodsburg, and I did see Bob Jones making a play for it, then try to avoid it. They will reset the shot clock to 20, which tells me it's Harrodsburg ball. I saw the 2-0 go up, and that was not a foul. Janoy Lee not on the floor. From up here, it was tough to tell where that ball was going or who touched it last, so Bob Jones making a play for it might have hampered their efforts. Harrodsburg going to the backcourt. As you know, you can do that on an inbound. Warner Bryan missed the pass. I don't think he fully saw it coming. But Bob Jones, they need a lot to go their way, and I just don't know if there's enough time. They do draw the foul, and they will go to the free throw line, so that gives them a chance to score with the clock stopped. But with 4:26 left, Harrodsburg can work the clock and basically eat away at key possessions here. They've done more than enough. Leading by 20. Trevor Brunson at the line. And Couples, he had a solid game, 15 points. It's not like Bob Jones has been lacking in production. Harrodsburg has just answered them every step of the way. And sometimes it comes down to that. You get those close finishes or you get those swings, those runs. Other times you go on that one big run and use it to hold your ground the rest of the way. Brunson made both free throws, but you can see Harrodsburg running down that clock now. Joyce kicks out. Baseline jumper. Swishes through the net. Warner Bryan laced that one. Only 6 points for Bryan, but another example of how Harrodsburg has been able to go toe-to-toe with Bob Jones in this second half. Again, they led by as much as 24 at one point. Kenny Garrick Jr. scores. Harrodsburg may not go after those stops on slashes as mightily as they did. They don't need to stop the clock and possibly concede more points than they have to. If I'm Harrodsburg, just stick to what got you here. Don't try anything fancy. That's not part of the game plan. Any game plan. Nakir Joyce just whiffed the pass from up here. Of course it happens. You don't want to have those sloppy turnovers, though, because it does give Bob Jones a chance. Again, an enormous amount of events would have to occur for them to make this a contest, but this is one way to do it. We all know the higher likelihood of drawing fouls on takes. Kenny Garrick shooting two. 68% free throw shooter. All region first team from the South Division. The school has nearly 200 student athletes across 13 sports. And they look like a strong contender with their best record in program history. But they ran into a Harrodsburg team that just put up insanely high numbers throughout the game. Now Bob Jones has to increase the riskiness, the gutsiness. You got to go for those steals now. Otherwise, Harrodsburg will just run out the clock as they continue to play keep away here. 10 to shoot. Under 3 minutes to play now. The turnaround for Lukanga finds its way home. Lukanga had a couple of buckets in the first half. He's got 6 now. Garrick looking for a lane. Doesn't find one. He'll go out. 3 ball. Long. And Harrodsburg will want that pass back. But even with that miscue, they can make plans for an extended stay here in downtown Minneapolis. Driving kick. The three is pure. Trevor Brunson scores. Bob Jones will hold on to their timeouts for now. And I just don't know if there's enough time, trailing by 16. I've seen some swift runs before, massive swings in momentum, but not like this. Kennedy could have been a silencer. Instead, that does leave a lifeline, however slim it is for Bob Jones, but they're going to need another bucket. Kenny Garrick gives them just that. Kenny Garrick up to 18 points now. Harrodsburg looking to coast to the finish, though, and with under 90 seconds left, Bob Jones is going to run out of time. Touch three. Doesn't land. Foul on Bob Jones. They had two to give, but not enough time remaining for Bob Jones to reasonably storm their way back in this one. And they do call it a shooting foul, so Coco Lukanga will shoot a couple. And looking up and down, not a whole lot of data available. But Lukanga has 6 points. Blanks at the line. If this were a 4-point game, I think that would be notable, but down by 14 with 1:10 to go. Again, it would take a nearly inconceivable effort and missing the front of a 1-and-1 doesn't help the cause. Harrodsburg running out clock as much as they can. There's a foul from Kenny Garrick, last to give. For the Bruins of Bob Jones. Harrodsburg 57 seconds away from a semifinal berth. A reminder that because we are running a little behind schedule, in about 10 minutes or so after the conclusion of this game, we'll have our last quarterfinal of the day between the home school North Central Rams and Grace Christian here at the Clark Danielson Gymnasium. Harrodsburg, they're going to move on to the semifinals. They'll play at 7 o'clock Central Time tomorrow evening right here. And Bob Jones, their season not over. They'll play at least one more. They'll go to the consolation semifinal. That game will take place at 3 p.m. But just an all-around contribution from the Pioneers, led by Joyce with his 21. And he had plenty of help along the way. Keelan Kennedy helped Harrodsburg distance themselves in the second half with a quartet of three-pointers. And that's going to be more than enough for Harrodsburg to advance.
Number 3, Braden Smith will go to the line for a 1-and-1.
And a sentimental favorite is going to check in. That's Jeremiah Williamson, the junior out of Louisville, Kentucky. He'll get to finish out this game. Something that carries over from the high school game. It's always cool to see when those deep reserves that attend all the practices participate just as much as the big names do, but maybe don't get the stats to show for it, get an opportunity to earn some playing time. Shot clock is off. Harrodsburg prevented a counter run after they went up big in the first half. And don't forget, we'll have our play of the game shortly, so stick around for that, as Harrodsburg will stick around for a couple more days. Braden Smith, the sophomore from Hodgenville, runs out the clock. Not before he passes it to McDaniels. That's it, that's all. 84-70, the 7 seed. Campbellsville-Harrodsburg Pioneers defeat the Bob Jones Bruins. And we have our first upset in this tournament. Unofficially 21 from Joyce. Here's one more look at our play of the game. It was the buzzer beater to end the first half from Lewis Richards. He didn't score a ton tonight, but that was a big one and emblematic of the momentum that Harrodsburg would not relinquish. Pioneers move on. They'll play at 7 o'clock tomorrow. The Bruins will play at 3 o'clock in the consolation semifinal. Harrodsburg will find out who their opponent is in our next game between North Central and Grace Christian. We'll have that game for you in a few minutes as we continue live coverage of the NCCAA Division II Men's Tournament right here on the NCCAA Network.